Gravenberch obviously has links to Ten Hag. I don't personally see that Gravenberch is exactly the right profile fit for what Man United need in the midfield now, but you could argue like anything is good for United's midfield right now, so I'll take that on board as well. But Liverpool have had the most interest throughout this particular transfer window, and I mean, coming into it, it was supposed to be one of the priorities. It was supposed to be like a June deal where they were like, right, let's clear up his situation at Bayern Munich. Is he in the plans there? If he is, then we'll move on from it. And if he's not, then let's get him through the door. Here we are, like back end of August, looking towards deadline day now, and he's still there and seems a little bit in limbo. So I think that Liverpool would have the upper hand in terms of like the scope they might have made already on the deal. But there's always that Ten Hag factor, mate. I think Ten Hag is extremely frustrated right now. A couple of conversations I've had with contacts in the last 2 days, this doesn't seem to me to be a manager that's particularly happy with the way that this transfer window is going. Like, June was a disaster. They made up for a lot of it in July. And now August, when you're putting like the icing on the cake, it's not there. Like, this was supposed to be a week when Maguire was gone, one of the midfielders was gone, and you were lining up 2 big signings to come in this week, a midfielder and probably Pavard. Neither of those things is happening. And now, on top of that, you've got the striker situation, which no one's really talking about at the moment because there's so much focus on the midfield and the defence. Ten Hag is not happy with the goal threat Man United hold right now. He's having to play Rashford at 9. He's not totally against playing Rashford at 9. In fact, Rashford's kind of convinced him he can play that role. But then he's left with a problem on the left because he tries Garnacho there. He was pretty much a dud in that Wolves game. He didn't turn up. I like Garnacho, but it wasn't a good day for him. So probably, I imagine, end up throwing Sancho onto the left side against Tottenham and playing Rashford through the middle again. Højlund, we still don't have a date of when he's going to become available. I think Ten Hag still wants a striker in this window, and that opens up another whole can of worms.
Yeah, I read that this morning as well, that he still wants that striker. And I can understand his frustration because I'm getting that way. 5 weeks ago, Mount was done. We all pretty much knew Onana was getting over the line. And then it was meant to, we had so many exits that felt like they were very close. And then we were meant to go and get Amrabat. Højlund was going to come in. And then the sort of idea was we'd make all those other sales, raise money, and then maybe buy somebody else. And look, Pavard is a big upgrade on what we already have if he comes in. We know how good Amrabat is as an example. Gravenberch, maybe there's some United fans are suggesting there's a bit of a knee-jerk reaction to the midfield performance against Wolves. I don't really think we need to have a knee-jerk reaction. We just need to look at the positionings of players when we're attacking. It's more of you can work on that. It was just people in the wrong spaces at the wrong times in this kind of adaptation of the system that we've got. But I understand his frustration because it's getting rid of these players. And the annoying thing for me is, as a United fan, I see a lot of his detractors online who are meant to be United fans blaming him, saying, well, the manager said that he wouldn't join United without control over transfers. Yes, he has control over saying who he would like to come in and who he doesn't want to come in. He doesn't control the actual sale or purchase of a player. He doesn't that's not his job. And for us not to be able to get Maguire out, it is a disaster for me. I understand he wants to stay for the money. That's on him. It is money, because if everybody's fit, he doesn't play. We will put Luke Shaw. If Malassi is fit and we need someone to play left centre back, Luke Shaw goes in before him. And
I was going to say to you, actually, like even at the Tottenham game, say Lisandro Martinez, I don't know what Lisandro's status is for the weekend, but obviously he's been a doubt all week. If he's not fit for that game, it should be the case for Harry Maguire to be like ready to go into that game. I don't see that there's a chance of Harry Maguire playing against Tottenham at the weekend. And I think you would look at Lindelof or even potentially Luke Shaw to go in there. I mean, at what point do you think Harry Maguire would actually get into the Man United team?
I got called out by a lot of people yesterday because I tweeted and saying that I think he's being greedy and I think it's a weak mentality. And I'm purely putting it down to he's staying for the extra 90 grand a week. And it's a weak mentality as a sportsman because you're not going to play. Oh, how do you not think he's going to play? He started 8 league games last year, and 2 of them were the opening 2 matches where he was given a chance. Yes, he might play some League Cup games for us, something along those lines. That's probably where he'll get utilised. But Lisandro and Varane, Lindelof are all ahead of him. We know that Luke Shaw gets moved in ahead of him, so he's 5th choice. Plus, if we do end up signing Pavard, he becomes 6th choice. He's not going to play football. So for him to stay for that extra, I understand he wants the money. I understand that, and he's entitled to. He isn't wrong to, but he is putting that extra bit of money ahead of his career. And what I hope happens if he stays for just the money is I hope he doesn't play for England, because that would then serve him right. I know a lot of people are moving to Saudi. For a lot of them, it's, wow, look at the money I can earn. But at least they're still playing football there. At least they're starting in their teams. I think to stay at a club where you're not wanted, where you're not being outed by the manager, fans are booing you week in, week out. Fans are right. Fans are booing you because we feel like you are holding us up. You are holding the club up. And look, he's got a contract and he's entitled to do it, but it's massively frustrating. And I get why Ten Hag feels the way he does. But again, this is what happens when you're run by the Glazers. This stuff always ends up happening. We can start a transfer window well, or it gets to a point where it looks like it's going to be good, and then the house of cards falls down all the time with these individuals, whether it's the sale of people, whether it's getting purchases over the line. There's always something that kind of goes wrong. We can't ever just end the summer and go, yeah, you know what? That started okay, got better, ended brilliantly. We're ready for the beginning of the season. So, it looks like the manager's going to end up in a situation again where he has to chop and change and beg and borrow. And, if we end up again, we might sign a new striker, but we can't be signing Weghorst level. It needs to be quality. And we can't do that without selling people. And our board, who the Glazers hire, are struggling to sell people, and that's their job, and they're not doing it, and they're hanging the manager out to dry. It's very infuriating, mate. It really is. I'm as angry as Ten Hag, really.
I think that the game that they've got at the weekend could be exposing as well. I mean, the style of football that Tottenham play. I mean, it'll be interesting to see what midfield setup Ten Hag goes with, because I feel like if he was to try the Casemiro Mount Fernandes thing again, I just feel like Tottenham could bypass them. I don't know that Mount can actually. I'd be tempted to bring Eriksen back in and just try and get more control on the game, especially in the first half, because I think there'd be a massive risk here, especially if Lisandro Martinez isn't playing, of just falling behind early in this game. If they were to lose by a couple of goals to Tottenham, suddenly you are actually looking at a disastrous start of the season, a transfer window that hasn't been good enough, and then you're being reactive again in the market and making emotional buys, emotional transfers, and having a manager that is even angrier.
You're right. And 2 games after that, we're away at Arsenal. So, we've started the season off better than last year points-wise. We have 3 points now. We had none. It'd be very nice to get through this weekend with a win. Potentially a draw, because, Spurs look pretty good the other day against Brentford, but they're still finding their feet. Yeah. We should be further along in our process than them. So I expect us to go there and give them a game. But I think it might be McTominay that starts in the midfield. If we don't buy anybody else, we're not going to get anybody in new by then. Amrabat's not going to be signed and ready to play for us by 5:30 on Saturday. Unless the deal gets complete today and he gets registered by tomorrow. So it might be McTominay for a bit of extra steel in the middle. But